Whee! What's up, Dancam? We looking at a new case today? You know, we're looking at the ASUS A31. ASUS? 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 I just Googled it. It's ASUS. So I was right all along. I knew it. Let's go ahead and look at the case now. So the ASUS A31 is available in black and in white, and it has an MSRP of $89.99, although most outlets I checked, like Amazon and Newegg, had it for $74.99, which I think is a great value for what you get. We've got a glass panel on the front. We've got glass on the side. The top is mesh. If we take a look at the back panel, it is mostly solid, but we do have mesh over here for side fans. On the rear, we've got ventilation for our rear fan. We've got some more ventilation down here as well. Our motherboard is going to sit right here. We've got our PCIe slot covers, and then our power supply is going to sit horizontally down at the bottom. And both the back panel and the side panel are held in with captive screws. They've got two each, one right here, and then we've got one right here, and then we've got one right here. And the top panel is actually not removable. It's actually riveted into place, but you don't need to remove it for this case, which I think makes it easier for the build. So that's really interesting. If we take a look at the front I/O, we've got a power button, we've got a combo audio jack, we've got two USB-A ports, a Type-C, and a reset button. And if we take a step back, we've got a pretty sizable gap on the bottom for our power supply and for fresh air to get into our bottom fans for the system. Overall, just a really clean looking case. So let's go ahead and take off these two panels and take a look at the inside. So the front glass panel is removable. If you take out this one screw that's at the top and this one screw that's at the bottom, you can go ahead and pop this off, but I don't really feel it's necessary. I don't think it gets in the way too much. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it on for the duration of this video and for the build. I think it'll be easy enough. So one interesting thing with this case is the bottom is actually angled 8 degrees, which ASUS says is gonna be better for airflow. And it does give you a better viewing angle for the bottom fans. So I would highly recommend using reverse blade fans down here at the bottom. So we're gonna utilize a reverse blade fans for the bottom and the side for this build. So we're gonna have 6 intake that are reverse blade. Then we're gonna use regular blade for the top and the rear. So 6 intake and 4 exhaust. And speaking of fans, you can fit up to 3 120 millimeter fans at the bottom, and same as the side. You can fit a 120 or a 140 millimeter on the rear, and you can fit up to a 360 millimeter AIO at the top. It can support up to ATX size motherboards and back connect boards. And you can fit GPUs that have a length up to 380 millimeters. So you can fit some pretty long graphics cards within this case. So let's go ahead and take a look at the back. So we've got a lot of tie downs for all of our cable management, like right here. We got some right here as well. So I have a feeling I'll be utilizing a lot of zip ties for this build. You guys know I'm a nut for cable management, so I'm gonna make this look as clean as possible. And there's also some Velcro strips right here as well. Then currently we've got our front panel connectors in here. We've got like our HD audio, we've got our unified front panel connector, USB-C, and then also our USB-A. And then down at the bottom is where this drive caddy sits, but I went ahead and took it off just because I wanted to show it to you and make it easier, because this actually does bolt in. You slide it in with these tabs right here, and then you access the bottom of the case, and there's 2 screws that hold it in. So I went ahead and took this out, and I'm not going to be using any 2.5 inch or 3.5 inch drives for this build, so I'm not sure if I'm going to leave it in or leave it out. We'll see once I actually get to the build. And you can fit ATX size PSUs in this case, with a max length of 200 millimeters. Like I said earlier, it's going to sit horizontal. But a pretty simple case, lots of versatility. I love how you can fit up to 10 fans total. And it should make for a really interesting build and finished result. Looks like we've got a gang of ASUS parts going in. Let's get the build started. Well, the build's done and it came out looking pretty darn good. What are your thoughts on it? So the build is all done and it came out looking great. I'm really happy with the end result for this build. And I decided to go with a blue theme for this one, mainly because one of the themes for this AIO is this blue theme. And I figured let's have the fans match and it looks good. And you can see that little 8-degree angle for the bottom really makes these bottom fans stand out. So like I said earlier, reverse blade is definitely the way to go with the bottom fans. And then I also have reverse blade on the side and it just looks really, really good. So let's go ahead and take off all of these panels, then we can start talking about the build. So earlier you were correct. We're pretty much using all ASUS parts for this build. Almost everything is from their Tough Gaming line. So let's go ahead and take a look at exactly what's in this build. So for the CPU, we've got an AMD Ryzen 9700X, and that's being cooled by the ASUS Prime LC 360mm AIO. For the motherboard, we've got an ASUS Tough Gaming B850 Plus Wi-Fi. We've got Team Group T-Create RAM, got 32 gigabytes at 6,000 megahertz. And for storage, under the heatsink on the motherboard, we've got a WD Black 1 terabyte NVMe. The GPU is an ASUS Tough Gaming 5060 Ti. And all of the fans are the ASUS Tough Gaming TR120s. And like I said earlier, we've got reverse blade on the bottom, reverse blade on the side, regular blade on the top, and a regular blade fan on the rear. And then for power, if we go ahead and flip this around, we've got an ASUS Tough Gaming 850 watt gold rated. And one thing I really like about this power supply is it comes with really nice braided cables. Because I hate when power supplies come with those ugly stock cables. These ones are really clean and there was no need for extensions. So the build itself was really easy. I didn't run into any issues. There's a lot of space to build in this case, and overall it was just a good experience. It posted on the first try, which is always nice. Windows installed easily, and then I was able to update all the drivers and then get all the software I need to control fan speed, which was actually done in the BIOS, but I used software to control all the RGB. And that's where I decided on the light blue. So let's go ahead and take a look at the back. So I spent a lot of time back here, as I usually always do, and cable management in this case was really easy. There's a lot of room and a lot of tie downs like I was saying earlier. The tricky part was each one of these fans has a PWM and a 5-volt ARGB cable. And how I wired them was each 3 group of fans is going into a 3-way Y-split cable and being plugged into a motherboard fan header. And then the rear one is being plugged into a fan header by itself. So I utilized 4 fan headers to power all of these fans. And then for RGB, I've got 10 total ARGB connections. Then I use this fan controller, so you can see I've got 10 plugs here for the 3-pin ARGB. And then I was able to hide almost all cables behind my motherboard and CPU cables. So you can see from the power supply, we've got our motherboard coming up here, and then going to the 24-pin, and then my CPU cables are coming up here. So I was able to hide almost all of those cables behind those PSU cables. And it came out looking absolutely fantastic. And then on this side, we've got our SATA power, and that's going over here to the right and being hidden kind of by this little part of the case. And then I've actually got the cable going over the power supply and then into the connection down there. And even if we look at the bottom, you can see nice and clean, the Dankam way. So cable management did take me a while, but that was more so because of the fans, and the case itself was actually really easy to manage everything. And the back panel closes fine. So really happy with this cable management. I was kind of dreading this because I knew it was going to be kind of tricky with 20 different cables to manage. But overall, came out looking fantastic. So a really clean looking build. I think it's priced really well. And if you're into this style case, I think it's definitely worth checking out. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy my content. And if there's anything else you want to see, please comment down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll see y'all in the next video.